YouTube time, and let's cover something that is applicable. That's a little joke to these HUSQVARNA saws, because I know I see a lot of videos about people the chain oiler is not oiling, and it's oiling, especially when you start the saw back up and there's no bar on it. But as soon as you put the bar on it, one thing I'm not seeing any mention of in any of these goofy videos about these saws is the number one problem why the chain is not oiling. And I just had my friend Bob here, and I had to go over that not all chain bars have an oil port. My bad habit, Uncle Tony's back. See, this one's blocked. I unblocked that one. That's your number one. And then when you start seeing your chain bar looking like this, I don't know if you can actually see that. One side is actually thinner than the other. I've never really, I had a lot of problems with this saw in the beginning as far as chains and performance. And I've been buying my chains at a certain place, which is local. And I was bugging the guy to get me a new bar for it, and he just kept blowing me off, just like the push rods for my mower. Here's your 18-inch bar. It's going to look different. It's wider, but it's still 72 link. And then I want to show you something that I'm a stickler for. Remember I was talking about the Polaris. There's my numbers and my specs. It's a 72 link 18-inch bar. Okay, and there's a serial on there. Okay, because really showing you this nothing, there's not, it says X-Force on this package. Okay, XF250. This HUSQVARNA 440, my 235, I have two of these 440s. And let me tell you, I got my money out of these saws and more. As far as I'm concerned, not really to that aspect, but as far as performance, okay, I'd like them. I'd like if a saw would last 10, 15 years. I have that saw about 15 years. Okay, the one my son actually bought me at the place that's blowing me off. Don't treat your customers like that, folks. Now, I quit doing small engine here during COVID because I just couldn't get parts, and I got a bad reputation, and people were like, yeah, you can't fix nothing. I'm not like these neighbors I have with garbage everywhere, and they're out partying and drinking, stacking up beer bottles and beer cans, 50 feet high outside the back door, okay? I'm a hard-working guy. But when you can't get parts, just like this Polaris, I have no idea where the goddamn thermostat is. The man's just going to have to forgive me. It's not me. I ran all over trying to get a bar for this. They didn't have one. The first one, it went in outer space. I found that one at a discount place. A bar I would have paid $60 for. I paid $18 for that bar at the discount place. Just go figure. Sometimes you got to... And it's not like they carry chainsaw stuff. It's stuff at this wholesaler. Stuff just pops up. And I saw that sitting there, and I figured, you know what? I've spent more money on dumb shit than $18. I spent a lot more money on dumb stuff that didn't pan out or it was junk. So I saw it was an 18-inch bar. I grabbed it. And guess what? It fits. Now, I'm going to warn you about that bar. The port for the oiler is a little bit smaller. Maybe they did that on purpose. Now, let me talk about the function of how this oiler on this saw works. The oiler pumps small amounts of oil up through the little tube in there. It's a little, hose with a slot then at the top. It's like a subway car. The chain, that is. When that chain goes by, it creates a vacuum, and it draws that oil out onto the chain through that little hole at a metered amount. So, if your hole is plugged, your chain is not going to get oiled, and you're going to burn up the bar or the chain. Now, could I have a problem with my oiler? It did not look bad to me. It didn't even look worn that hard after, I don't use this saw all the time. Right now I'm pressed for firewood. I bought a quart of firewood and I got ripped off. I got about a pickup truck load of firewood. A pickup truck, folks, a quart of firewood, according to historical math is 2.5 tons. That's about 4 pickup truck loads, not one. I think these hillbillies in the area, due to lack of education, have changed the mathematics of things to suit their. Let's get off of that. Let's talk about a friend almost lost a wife, and another friend was here just mentioning the scenario because he was contemplating on buying a new car, and he had to have his old one fixed, which is what my other friend. We're gonna call my other friend by his name, okay? His name is Harold, okay? Harold Morgan, not Harry Morgan like on. We often call him Colonel Potter, but anyway, Harold, his Suburban needed an engine, so he came here about 3 weeks ago. All right, I'm trying to make it aesthetically correct in case Harold wants to correct anything here. Harold didn't have an extra vehicle. He took the car that they had, which is, I don't know. I think it's a Nissan of some sort. It's an older one, 2000s, early 2000s. He loves the car, won't give that up either. But the Suburban at 300,000 miles, it threw the timing chain and it bent valves, which is highly unusual. But Harold said he was coming up on 81 and he was romping on the pedal. And I could see, if you never really had the engine apart and never really replaced the timing chain, I can see things like that happening. Now, the rest of the story is accurate as I can be. He went out and rented a car because it was taking me. I had to go to my obsolete sources to find him a good used motor that I could then go over, which takes more time of ordering parts. Okay. Now, he came yesterday to pick that engine up. I didn't get home late from, I didn't even want to deal with it, but I had it on the chain in the garage. I gave him the key, and I said, Harry, good luck. You're on your own. Get it on your truck if you need, I think this wind is going to mess with my camera. But I told him if he had a problem to give me a call, which he didn't. He had a pallet all made up. I taught him about that. I showed him the dynamics of the pallet that I built, so he built one just like it. Always put your engine on a pallet, because those oil pans on these 5.3, 6.0s, 4.8s, a lot of the new GM motors, they're like an eggshell. You set the full weight of that engine on that oil pan at any point, any time, or you try to push that engine up when you're doing work, like maybe change the AC compressor. You take the bolt out of the motor mount to give you a little more room. Don't do that. It's a good way to break the oil pan. If you have something that'll span the oil pan that's kind of soft and spongy, I have what was used to be an exercise mat. Again, my wholesaler up there. They, for $3 for a mat that they were selling on as seen on TV for $30 and $35, I got the damn thing for like $3 or $4. It's pennies on the dollar, and this stuff has a use. So I cut it up, and I have a board, and then I have a little jig that fits on my jack, because I've lifted these motors up more than once to change an AC compressor out when they go bad, which is quite often. Now, Harold gets the rental, which is a Nissan Altima, because I just heard the same story today. His wife was on her way to work, never drove the car before. She's in mall traffic at rush hour. She works at a hospital, like a night shift, which is not the good shift, by the way. She sees all the horror. She was involved in the horror herself because I guess a car got near her and she was driving like her normal driving style, and this thing started shaking the steering wheel. She thought something was wrong with the car, slammed on the brakes to pull over, and she never checked behind her when she did that, when the steering wheel, and I guess there's evidently lights, like I said, I was talking about these newer vehicles. The lights are going off and on like pinball machines. She got rear-ended, but good. It was a dump truck, and it was loaded. And the guy was hysterical. He waited at the hospital for 5-6 hours, and told the police, the police told him to go home. Basically, the accident was not his fault. It was not a dingy broad either. It's just this older generation, my generation's not, we're not attuned to that type of stuff in an automobile. And GM, all of you assholes making that stuff, you need to take it out. because you're not getting me as a consumer for that crap, let alone putting AI surveillance in my vehicle. So my buddy Richie was just here. He said while he was having his car fixed, they gave him the exact model car, a Nissan Altima, at the rental. They must be quite popular. I don't know why. The Altima was one of the better cars prior to all this AI crap. So he too said he took the car back and told them to give him something that did not have all that crap on it. And they had, I guess, a Trailblazer or something he got which didn't have all that stuff on it. And very seldom do these rental agencies have something older on hand. Just so you know, they get rid of the stuff after a certain, I think, 40 or 50,000 miles. The stuff gets sold off because then they got to start putting money into it. That's why I still smoke, because I did not like Harold telling me that story, and basically I'm blaming it on myself because it's taking me so long to do his motor. I could only do what I could do, and I think I got it together. I had a lot of parts for that engine. I carry a lot of stuff for those LS motors here in stock. Gaskets, intake, head gaskets, manifold. I think I exhibited that. I've got a plethora. I've got bins full of that stuff. And I told you when I go to the junkyard, if I see something recently replaced, I rip it off the vehicle. I'll pay for it because I intend on keeping my trucks alive a long, long time. Now, my Super Sport needs a rear. And since I had to attend to Harold's emergency because he did not want to give up that Suburban. And I believe that Suburban is a 99. It's a new body style Suburban. But he will not give it up. It's in cherry condition. He keeps it in the garage as much as he can when he's not using it. Harold's retired. His wife is still working. They have a nice lifestyle. She goes and does her thing at work. But to have your wife put in the hospital by a goddamn car, and I hope he sues Nissan and the rental agency, because we don't want that stuff. If that's the only thing they're offering in an automobile, don't rent them. Don't put them on your lot, because people like me don't want them. And that's my, I'm going to actually forward this video to Harold as a sort of an apology. I don't think 3.5, 4 weeks, whatever it took me, is a long turnaround time, because it took me a better part of a week to find the motor. Okay, it took me 3 or 4 days in between working on this Ford to break the engine down, and I'm talking running to my other shop, and then coming back here and cleaning up tools, you know, because sometimes one thing led to another. I replaced the oil pump, the seal on the oil pump. I made sure all the gaskets were sealed up. Then I broke the little Happy the Clown tool to put the new rear main seal in. I broke the little tool simply because of my age, and I was getting impatient to get the motor back together. It's not like Harold was whining, but he's like, I need my truck. I need to get this thing. And I had a guy that got him immediately in. They put the motor in. It's fine. But what he went through, and to have your wife put in the hospital. Not to mention I just lost my neighbor. But that's one thing I wanted to tell my president. We're losing people my age because they've had no health care, no access to it. They're offering jobs with benefits, and the benefits are fake, not to mention no pension. He better get on a stick and learn how you run a capitalist country. Your industry today, these new hires that are advertising full benefits, a 401k is not a retirement, and your government can get in at any time you owe somebody money. Bullshit on that. Get a pension that they can't take or touch. Okay? Our president is nothing but full of shit, just like every other politician that's been in his position. Every other president has been totally full of shit. Do you think all those bills from his wife are going to be covered? I hope they don't go after his house or his bank accounts. I don't know what she has in medical working at that hospital, but I hope she has a goddamn good plan. Thanks for watching my videos, and I'm sorry I'm upset. I didn't... that's been my demeanor my last couple of videos, because that incident's been on my mind since my last video or two. I've made 1 or 2 videos, and I really didn't have the vocabulary, so I figured I'd get it off my chest, and I'd let Harold know. I'm not an idiot. I'm not lackadaisical. I had to pull a 5.3 motor, which is almost impossible to find a decent one in this area. And that's why you change the gaskets. I could see it at Oil Leaks. I said to the guy, how many miles does it have on it? He says, I suspect over 140. Well, then I'm going to change gaskets on everything. And the bores did not look bad. There was no rocking of pistons. I would have put a cam and lifters in it, but he was in a rush. I changed out 2 lifters that looked suspect to me, just like I did my motor, and ended up that I'm probably gonna have to rip it down and put all new lifters in it, and I'm just gonna get a cam end lifters. And I told him I should have did that, and he says I'll roll the dice. He says, you know, Dutch. He says, I know your work. Thanks for watching my videos, folks. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's what life comes down to. And take my tip on this HUSQVARNA. Okay, it works. Just clean out. It's hard in the field when you got to change a chain to clean that little. I carry those dusters, those cans that blow air. It sort of works. You really need a good compressor, and you need to run stuff through it. And the other thing is, don't handle your camera when your pitties are full of oil like I did. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, know better. I figured I'd make this video though on the saw, even though my paws were full of oil. Thanks. Thanks for watching my videos.